This is Bergstrom's State Line Quiz Bowl. Now from the Collins Aerospace Studio at the Nordloff Center in downtown Rockford, here's your host, Eric Wilson.
Welcome to another Bergstrom State Line Quiz Bowl, and thanks for spending part of your Easter weekend with us. Oh, you saw a fantastic matchup last weekend between the Belvederes. We expect this game to be just as tight for a second seat in our Final Four. Who will it be? How about the Marengo Indians? Let's hear it for them. Behind Leo's 9 correct buzz-ins, Marengo doubled up North Boone last game. Indians are back in the Elite Eight for a second straight year. Omar, that's got to feel good. Final Four would feel even better. Who do you have with you for your starting lineup?
All right, so to my near right is Leo, to my far right is Lawson, and to my left is Patrick.
Welcome and good luck, Marengo Indians facing the Auburn Knights. A round of applause for them. The Knights are in a pretty familiar position. They've made it this far, or farther, every year in Quiz Bowl. Last time out, they beat their Nick 10 rivals Boylan by 300 points. Alex had 11 correct buzz-ins there. Hope you stretched out your buzz-in finger, Alex. We don't want you to sprain anything answering all those questions. Sinesio is their captain. Who'd you bring with you, Sinesio?
So to my right is Kobe, to my near left is Alex, and to my far left is Luke.
And 1 year ago, these two teams competed in the Elite Eight. Auburn got the better of Marengo. Omar and the team may be out for revenge. Who knows? You got to know the answers to questions for that to happen. And we'll get to those questions right now with our buzz-in round. The two most important rules. Wait for me to call your name before you answer, and say that answer loudly and clearly. Hands on your buzzers. Good luck, contestants. Here we go. What artist who created Love Is in the Bin when his girl with balloon shredded it? Leo.
Banksy.
That's right. Shredded itself in an auction is an anonymous British street artist. Marengo earns the first points of the game. What programming language was developed by Sun Microsystems? Sinesio.
Java.
Yep. Is now owned by Oracle, runs in a virtual machine, and has a coffee cup as its logo. In 1984, Bernard Goetz shot 4 black teenagers on what city's transit system whose ridership dropped under mayors like John Lindsay and Ed Koch? Lawson.
Montgomery.
Incorrect. Auburn. Alex.
Birmingham.
Incorrect. It was New York City. What playwright depicted a gorilla-crushing Yank in The Hairy Ape and Sinesio?
O'Neill.
Yes, and Tyrone revealing he has tuberculosis in Long Day's Journey into Night. What girl group's songs Survivor and Bootylicious featured a lineup consisting Sinesio?
Destiny's Child.
That's right, featuring Auburn Kappa graduate Michelle Williams. What city, whose Kingdom Center skyscraper has a large opening at its top, is in the historic region of Nejd and is the capital of Saudi Arabia? Alex.
Riyadh.
That is Riyadh, 3 in a row. What epic poem by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow with Sinesio?
Song of Hiawatha.
Incorrect. I'll finish Marengo, which opens with the phrase, "This is the forest primeval," is named for an Akkadian girl. Lawson.
The Epic of Gilgamesh.
Incorrect. Evangeline. What artistic medium, which was used by James Van der Zee to portray members of the Harlem Renaissance, was also used by Robert Capa and Ansel Sinesio?
Photography.
Correct. Ansel Adams. Adams, of course, famous for his black and whites. In 53 BC, Crassus died fighting at the Battle of Carrhae against what empire? Alex.
The Parthians.
Correct. That controlled Persia from the 3rd century BC to the 3rd century AD. What country's president, whose nickname means crocodile in the Shona language, is the ZANU-PF member Emerson? Alex.
Zimbabwe.
Thank you for not making me pronounce Emerson's last name. That is correct. What tyrannical nurse, played by Louise Fletcher on film and Sarah Paulson on a Netflix show? Leo.
Nurse Ratched.
That is correct. Appears in Ken Kesey's One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. What title character who shocks Mr. Bumble by asking for more gruel and Kobe?
Oliver.
Correct, and is recruited to Fagin's gang as the orphan hero of the novel by Charles Dickens. You can actually see the musical Oliver at RVC's Starlight Theater this summer. What property found in the denominator of the Reynolds number characterizing flow? Sinesio.
Viscosity.
Yes, very high for molasses and as a fluid's resistance to flow. In 1944, Franklin Roosevelt signed what law that provided educational benefits and mortgage incentives for, Omar?
GI Bill.
Correct, for veterans returning from World War II. What former country, whose first president was Ngo Dinh Diem, merged with its communist northern neighbor, Alex?
South Vietnam.
Correct, in 1976, following the fall of Saigon. You're at 100 points. What artist who painted Max Schmidt rowing in a Philadelphia river, Alex?
Akins.
Yes, depicted in operation at Jefferson Medical College in the Gross Clinic. What philosopher who thought the pineal gland was the seat, Senecio?
Descartes.
Yes, the seat of the soul, developed a mind-body dualism and wrote, I think, therefore I am. You answered correctly, therefore you get 10 points. That's also how we end the round with that question from Auburn. Auburn's off to a strong start, 120. Marengo, not too shabby, though, for a first-round score with 30. A lot of ground to catch up, but there's also a lot of points available. We've got 3 more rounds to play. Our next one is volleyball, and you'll see it right after this break. Man, what a solid first round here. Both of our teams doing pretty well. Auburn, though, off to a little bit bigger start, 120 to Marengo's 30. Before we get into our volleyball, very special thank you to our judge today, Einar Forsman. He's taking time from his golf game because, now he's retired. He's actually the retired president and CEO of the Greater Rockford Growth Partnership. He is our judge, but also maybe more importantly, he has been a supporter of Bergstrom State Line Quiz Bowl from day one, and we want him to know we really appreciate that. Thanks, Einar. All right, contestants, our volleyball is a conferring round. Work as a team, but the answers have to come from the captains. Omar, you and Marengo get our first question in volleyball this week. Are you ready?
Yep.
Here we go. What man who was James Madison's second vice president approved a salamander-shaped region that inspired a term for politically biased districting?
Jerry.
We'll take that because the word is known as gerrymandering. His name was pronounced with a hard G as Gary Elbridge Gary, but at some point that was changed to gerrymandering. Long explanation to you get 10 points. Auburn, here's your first volleyball question. What role-playing game series set in post-nuclear wastelands was criticized for its first multiplayer game, 76?
Fallout.
Correct. It had lots of bugs and glitches in that first multiplayer version. Back over to Marengo. What figure from Greek myth was created by Hephaestus and given to Epimetheus along with a gift, a jar or box that contained all the world's evils?
Pandora.
Yes, she's also considered first woman in Greek mythology. Back to Auburn. Question for question so far. In the key of G major, which has only one sharp? The sharp is placed on which note?
F.
Correct, even with my weird phrasing there. Short and sweet music theory question. Back to Marengo. What first great unifier of Japan conquered most of Honshu before being ambushed in 1582 and succeeded by Toyotomi Hideyoshi and Tokugawa Ieyasu?
Shinzo Abe.
Incorrect, but that's worth a guess. Oda Nobunaga. Back to Auburn. What hockey team, which in 2022 made Mike Greer the NHL's first black general manager, is based at the SAP Center in the San Francisco Bay Area?
San Francisco hockey team. Anaheim.
Incorrect. The Sharks. They're based in San Jose. Back to Marengo. Miguel Diaz-Canel governs from what Caribbean capital city where a May 2022 gas leak caused a deadly explosion at the Hotel Saratoga? Havana, Cuba. Back to Auburn. What ruler launched the harrying of the North after defeating Harold Godwinson at the 1066 Battle of Hastings?
William the Conqueror.
Which made him King of England, right? You don't even have to interrupt me, but you want to move on. I get this. Senecio, you want to get going? All right, I can take the hint. Let's go over to Marengo now. What island between Ireland and Great Britain is a crown dependency that is home to a namesake breed of cat with a short tail or no tail at all?
Isle of Man.
You got it. That cat is the Manx. Back to Auburn. What group of vascular plants has a prothallus stage, includes ostrich and bracken types, bears spores but not seeds, and produces fiddleheads?
I think it's ferns. Ferns.
Yeah, each of those clues, probably those progressively gave you more of assurance there. Back to Marengo. In the works of Belgian cartoonist Hergé. What young reporter walks on the moon with his friend Captain Haddock and his dog Snowy? That's kind of a tough one. That was Tintin. And that's how we end the round with that question there. Auburn's got 160, so 100 points basically on Marengo's 60 points. Halfway through our game, that means you get to play at home with the Bergstrom bonus question, and we'll be back with the answer right after this.
After beating Richard M. Daley in the primary, Harold Washington won his party's nomination and went on to become the first black mayor of which windy Illinois city?
You picked an exciting game to join us for, although most of our games are exciting, especially this late in the tournament. Auburn has 160, Marengo has 60. This next question won't change the scores because it's for pizza and pasta from Lino's. Hands on your buzzers, contestants. Let me know if you know the answer to this week's Bergstrom bonus question. After beating Richard M. Daley in the primary, Harold Washington won his party's nomination and went on to become the first Leo.
Mayor of Chicago.
We'll take that. First black mayor of which Illinois city? You got it. Harold Washington was elected mayor 40 years ago this week. Nice job. Congratulations. Enjoy the pizza and pasta. Enjoy this next 2 minutes to catch your breath, and we'll be back with our NECA IBEW lightning round. We're back with the NECA IBEW lightning round, fresh off Leo's cool answer to that Bergstrom bonus. It was like you have the coolest attitude when you get an answer. Leo's like, yeah, Chicago mayor, cool.
Should be an award
All right,
for that too.
We're
Yeah,
going to
great,
Lino's.
coolest.
Nice job. Keep that fun attitude going in this next round because it'll get pretty intense and pretty fast. That's why we call it the lightning round. Thank you to NECA IBEW. The first lightning round choice goes to Auburn, though, this week. So the three categories for use in SEO are new places, sci-fi ships, and restaurants on Wall Street.
I'm guessing new places. 'Cause I feel like you already know the answer to this. Okay. We'll go with new places.
You got it. Name these geographic places whose names start with the word new. 60 seconds to run the category. You could boost your score by 100 points if you get all the way through it. And you can pass. Advice to both teams. And then Omar, you and the team will have 30 seconds to get whatever they don't get correct or pass on or run out of time for. Sinesio, are you ready for your first question? Name these geographic places whose names start with the word new. Most populous U.S. city.
New York.
Correct. Capital city of India.
New Delhi.
Correct. Louisiana City, home to the French Quarter.
New Orleans.
Correct. U.S. state whose motto is live free or die.
New Mexico. New Mexico.
Incorrect.
Sorry.
Country called Aotearoa that stood in for Middle Earth.
New Zealand. New Zealand.
Correct. Most densely populated U.S. state.
New Jersey.
That's correct. Canadian province whose capital is Fredericton.
Newfoundland and Labrador.
Incorrect. Second largest island by area in the world.
New Guinea. New Guinea.
Correct. Connecticut City, home to the U.S. Coast Guard Academy.
New Haven. New Haven.
Incorrect. French territory in the South Pacific whose capital is Noumea.
Martinique.
Incorrect. And then we're out of time, or there's nothing to go back to. So you added 60 points to your score. You're up to 220. There's 40 left for you, Omar. That would bring you up to 100 points, put you in triple digits, 30 seconds to get to these, and I'll read them as quickly as I can. Name the geographic places whose names start with the word new. Ready?
Yep.
U.S. state whose motto is live free or die.
New Hampshire.
That's correct. Canadian province whose capital is Fredericton.
New Brunswick.
Correct. Connecticut City, home to the U.S. Coast Guard Academy.
Pass.
French territory in the South Pacific whose capital is Noumea.
New Paris.
Incorrect. Connecticut City, home to the U.S. Coast Guard Academy. It's not bad. There's only two left on the board yet. So you added 20 to your score. You're up to 80. The two that no one got, the Connecticut City, New Haven was a good guess. It was New London. And the French territory in the South Pacific is New Caledonia. So Omar, these are the two categories left for you. Sci-fi ships or restaurants on Wall Street.
Restaurants on Wall Street, please.
All right, man, I thought the sci-fi category would go pretty quickly. Name the restaurant chain that uses these ticker symbols. So it's how they're traded on the New York Stock Exchange. 60 seconds. Same rules apply. We know the rules. You guys have been playing this game for a long time. If you run this category, it'll put you up to 180 within striking distance of Auburn in this final round, or the next final round. Omar, are you ready for your first description? Name the restaurant chain that uses these ticker symbols. MCD, whose logo is the Golden Arches.
McDonald's.
Correct. WEN, known for its square burger patties.
Wendy's.
Correct. SBUX.
Starbucks.
Correct. DPZ, which once had a 30-minute or free delivery guarantee.
Domino's Pizza.
Correct. CMG, which offered plant-based chorizo in 2022.
Chipotle.
Correct. DNUT, a North Carolina-based donut chain.
Dunkin' Donuts.
Incorrect. JACK, a West Coast burger chain. That
Jack in the Box.
Correct. CAKE, which offers 35 flavors of its namesake dessert.
Cheesecake Factory.
Yes. CBRL, whose southern-themed locations are paired with gift shops.
Cracker Barrel.
Correct. PBPB, a sandwich chain based in Chicago.
Pass.
That's all you have left.
Panera Bread.
Incorrect. Nothing to go back to. That was pretty solid. You got 7 of them right. There's 3 left, Sinesio, for you and the Knights. I will go through them quickly, and then we can move on, or take all this 30 if you need it. Name the restaurant chain that uses these ticker symbols. So you're ready for the final 3 on this list, right? 2 on this list. I'm sorry. 2 left. Yep, that's it. You ready?
Yep.
There we go. DNUT, a North Carolina-based donut chain.
Pass.
PBPB, a sandwich chain based in Chicago.
Potbellies.
That is correct. Back to DNUT, the North Carolina-based donut chain.
Krispy Kreme Doughboys. Krispy Kreme.
You got it.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the other one, right? And we filled it out. So, and thanks for the correction on the math there. Sometimes on the marks on my page, I can't read them. So we cleared that category. Nice work. Dunkin', the key to the Krispy Kreme one was Dunkin' is based out of Boston. It was a North Carolina-based donut chain is what we needed there. All right, so we move into our final challenge with the scores looking like this. 240 points for Auburn, 160 for Marengo. We'll see who moves on to the final 4 after this break. All right, 1 round left to play this week for one of the seats in our final 4. Somebody I could hear before we were coming out of the break, somebody is a little nervous. It might not be a bad time to be nervous, although sometimes you can turn that nervous energy into a pretty strong performance. Marengo closed the gap in that last round in the Lightning, so it's only 80 points between Auburn with 240 and Marengo with 160. Our final challenge is a buzz-in contestant. Same rules apply as round 1, just the questions are now worth 20 points. So wait for me to call your name before you answer. Say your answer loudly and clearly. Hands on your buzzers. Here we go. Good luck. What TV show, whose theme song describes humble folks without temptation living in Colorado? Leo.
South Park.
That is correct. Comedy Central cartoon named for Cartman's hometown. I have never been more proud of a contestant in my life. Nice job. What state, which the Trump administration tried to strip of its Clean Air Act waiver, announced a ban starting in Leo?
California.
Correct, in 2035 of new gas-powered cars. 2 in a row from Marengo. Overharvesting led to the 1993 closure of what prized fishing grounds formed by an underwater plateau off the southern coast of Newfoundland? Alex.
Northern.
Incorrect. Marengo, you have a chance for these points? Go ahead, Leo.
Fisherman's Wharf.
Incorrect. It's worth a guess. Nothing to lose there. Grand Banks. What university hosts the International Center for Automotive Research, is on Lake Hartwell in western South Carolina, and fields the ACC's Leo?
Duke.
Incorrect. I'll finish for Auburn. The ACC's Tigers. Alex?
Clemson.
That is Clemson, yep. In what city, which U.S. forces evacuated in August 2021, was al-Qaeda leader Omar?
Kabul.
Yes, Ayman al-Zawahiri killed in 2022 in a drone strike. What state, where the Delicate Arch is in Arches National Park near Alex?
Utah.
Yep, is home to the headquarters of the LDS Church in Salt Lake City. Geronimo was a leader of what Native American tribe? Sinesio?
Apache.
Yes, of the Southwest U.S. that fought a decades war against American forces. 300 points. What structure, the largest in the nucleus of eukaryotes, is responsible for the assembly of ribosomes? Alex?
Nucleolus.
Yes, and has a name meaning little nucleus. What African country, which lends its name to a bight in the Gulf of Guinea, is governed, Sinesio?
Benin.
That is correct. Governed from Cotonou, although its capital is Porto Novo. What story in which Madame Sofronie pays $20, Kobe?
Gift of the Magi.
Yes, on Christmas Eve for hair is by O. Henry. Those are the other main clues. You got those. What pigment found in the thylakoid membrane, Sinesio?
Chlorophyll.
Yes, lends part of its name to an organelle in plants. What man who resigned as Assistant Secretary of the Navy in 1898 to lead the Rough Riders assumed, Alex?
Teddy Roosevelt.
That's right, assumed the presidency upon the death of William McKinley. What technique that has HPLC and Sinesio?
Chromatography.
Yes, thin layer types, mobile phase used to separate mixtures. We're moving on. What 1648 peace ended the 30 Years' War in Central Europe and helped originate the concept of geopolitical sovereignty? Alex?
Peace of Westphalia.
You got it. And that's the end of the round. So it started out as a relatively tight beginning there. Auburn pulled away. Congratulations. I didn't want to interrupt your applause because you worked hard for those. Congratulations, Auburn, with 440 points, one of the highest point totals of the season. You are moving on to the Final Four. You'll face Belvedere North, which ends up being a finale rematch of last season. Marengo, first of all, congratulations for making it this far, and congratulations for having so much fun, because if we had to pick a team that seemed like they had a lot of fun the whole time they were playing, you guys would be certainly near the top of the list. How many of you are seniors? All right, so that means Leo, you and that cool attitude of answering the questions is back. It paid off. You had quite a few at the beginning of that last round there. So enjoy your pizza party. Thanks for playing. And thank you for joining us. Next week, Keith faces Winnebago. Happy Easter.